And welcome to a special episode of How They See Us. My name is Kierra, and I'm an account executive here at Herd Strategies. For those of you who don't know, How They See Us is a series where we invite industry leaders and friends of Herd Strategies to discuss how they navigate public perception challenges within their fields. It is currently August. In addition to August being Black Business Month, August also marks the anniversary of the opening of Herd Strategies. In honor of our 13th anniversary this year, we thought it would be great to share a special episode where we talk with Denise and dive into the making of the business, building her brand, and developing a name for herself as a trusted PR practitioner.
I'm coming, Kiara. I'm sorry. I couldn't turn my camera on. I'm so sorry.
They
Hi
were
there.
trying to
How
keep
are
you
you?
away. Well, thank you for fighting through it. And thank you
Thank
for joining for
you.
this episode.
Sorry. Technical difficulties.
Yeah, it adds a little fun to the episode. That's the
Yes,
culture.
never a dull moment. Sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you were fine. Thank you so much for taking the time out to do this special episode. I know it's an extra one that we're throwing in with our regular cadence on there. So I appreciate you doing this.
No, thank you. This is a great idea. I love to have this conversation. It's fun when you host and I don't have to do all the work. So thank
I-
you.
yeah, it's nice to be able to take a back seat. And it's a good reminder for me of how uncomfortable the front seat can be sometimes.
Yes. 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 Yes.
Well, I just have a few questions for you here today. And
Okay.
I thought it would be great to start with when you first started. So I wanted you to just take me back to the day when you decided that you were going to step out on your own and establish your own business. What was going through your mind that made you feel like you were ready to take that leap of faith?
Oh my goodness. Okay, so this is for kids too, so I have to watch my language. So, as I, traveled further and further down this path of business ownership, I've become a bit more just kind of like the kids said, keeping it 100 about my experience. I got fired. I was working for a nonprofit, and my boss came in one day and said that things were going to change and that my services were no longer needed. And so that's shocking when that happens, and it was the first time it ever happened to me too. So I was like, "Whoa, wait a minute." So, interestingly, when I walked out of the building, I got to my car, I picked up the phone to call my parents, and my mom answered, and I was like, "Hey, guess what? My mom said you got fired," and I was like, "I did." And then she yelled out for my dad to pick up the phone because they're old, so they have a landline. So my dad picked up the phone, and before I could say anything, my mom said she got fired. And so my dad, I mean, I didn't even miss a beat. He said, "Well, you've been doing it for everyone else for so long. You may as well try and do it for yourself and see if you can make a go of it." And so I just never missed a beat. Like that day, I went out to my parents' house. We started working on my business plan. I started calling former corporate sponsors of the nonprofit I worked for to let them know that I had been let go. And one of the sponsors I called said, "I don't know if I'm happy or sad for you because I have a project and I wanted you for it, but I didn't think you could do it while you were working for that organization. But now, since you're not, we're going to hire you to do a project." So I literally got a contract within the first week of stepping out on my own, and it was with American Family Insurance, and I did a training up in their corporate headquarters in Wisconsin. So I just, and mind you, it hasn't always been that easy. So people are like, "Wow, that's great," but it's not always been that easy. But I was really very fortunate, and I just did it. I don't know. I just did it. I just did it. Yeah.
That's huge because it takes a specific kind of person to be able to come from
Yeah.
something like being terminated and feel
Yeah.
like have the ability to be like, you know what? I'll just do it myself. I'll do it on my
Yeah. Yeah, and I thought, you know what? I'm not gonna let this be my end, and it's hard because, a lot of times when you're working, and I was a vice president when it happened, so it was really jarring for me because I'm an executive level person, and but I just thought, I can do this. I know I can. And well, no, I didn't know I could. I thought I'm gonna try and do this and this just figure it out along the way. And I will tell you, Kiara, I that Monday, I also not only was I calling corporate sponsors to say, like, hey, help me, but I went to the library. And as you know, I love the library. And I always say, like, the library is your friend. And I literally went to the library, sat down got a meeting room, and I Googled how to start a business. And it took me to the SBA website. And so I was like doing all their tutorials throughout the course of the day to set everything up because, like I always say, I could write a mean communications plan, but I didn't know anything about starting and running a business. Like, I don't know what that means. So I needed help. And so the SBA is who I turned to for that online help. And then there's so many resources here in Indianapolis that I was able to access. And been so grateful for all that they've poured into me over these past 13 years and have just really, really been support. Like Indianapolis, say what you want about us, but we have a great ecosystem set up for small business owners. Is it in need of improvement? Yes, but whose support for small business owners isn't? Like we should constantly be striving to improve. But Indianapolis really is a great place to start a business. It truly, truly is.
That's amazing. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
So, going off of not only is this the anniversary, it's Black Business Month, which is obviously huge. That holds a special place for us as well, of course.
Yes.
So, for you specifically, though, what does this month mean to you personally and for our business?
So, yeah, I've been thinking about that a lot because I remember early in the day when I first started, a white business owner telling me not to highlight the fact that I was Black,
Mm,
and which was really weird to me because I am Black, but she told me I shouldn't like go around promoting that I'm Black and hiring Black people because I would get pigeonholed. And that just never sat well with me because would you tell a white person, like, don't tell people that you're white? Like, don't talk about like that. I mean, like, I don't know. It just was weird to me. And so uh, at first, I kind of followed that direction and I just really minimized, I'm going after getting certified as an MBE and really looking at myself as a black business owner and what I could do for other Black entrepreneurs or contractors. I just really downplayed that. And then finally, I realized that's not who I am. That's not the cloth that I'm cut from. I mean, like, thinking back to back in the olden days when dinosaurs roamed the earth, I'm a founder of my high school Black Student Union. So how can I now, as a business owner, minimize who I am in within the life that I'm living? It seems like I'm not walking in my truth. So
mhm.
once I decided, like, okay, thank you for your advice, but no, thank you, and start living out my reality and not downplaying it, but really utilizing it as something that I can bring to the table with respect to bringing audiences together, then things started to really turn around for me. It's almost like I had to have that awakening from within and the confidence to know that if I do this and I say this all in the right way, it could really be a win-win for Herd Strategies. And I'm so glad that I had that epiphany because it's really, really helped us. It's helped us with some of the projects that we've been engaged with. It's helped us with respect to, getting mentorships. It's helpful with respect to business development opportunities that I've been given that have helped our company in the long run. And it just made me a better person all around, I feel.
Help too with our impact. You being a proud Black owned business lets other people feel pride in being a Black owned business. It
Yeah.
allows us too to elevate. I mean, with our content for this month, every August, we always elevate other
Mhm.
Black owned businesses. So I think that you not only lived in your truth with your brand, but with uplifting other brands through you.
Yeah, I just think that, I think we kind of have a responsibility to do that. Like if we don't do it, then I think that people look at what are other people doing and what and that helps them develop the confidence. And so like I look at people like Debbie Oates of Nubian Construction Group and Oates Trucking, and I look at Engaging Solutions with Tammy Butler and what she's done, and then previously with Debbie Wilson, who was a partner in that firm. I look at those individuals and the courageous steps that they took in starting their businesses, and so they laid a foundation for me. I mean, even like Kathy Cabello at Cabello and Associates, who is one of our city's only Hispanic led communications firms. I mean, she's doing amazing work. And it's because of those women and all they poured into me and just really pushing me and encouraging me to stand in my truth and be who I am that we've been able to sustain ourselves for the past 13 years.
So, in the 13 years that we've been in business,
Mhm.
and I know it's a very big question, but what would you say are some of the biggest challenges with maintaining our business and maintaining our brand throughout the city?
It's the same problem that every business owner has: staffing and money. Like, it's staffing, having the right people on the bus. That's always been a challenge. It's been a challenge for me, personally and professionally. And I think it's a challenge but it's a challenge that every business owner faces. You think that you have the right people on the bus, and then suddenly you realize they're not the right people on the bus. And then you wrestle with, how do I handle that? And
Mhm.
so that's been a struggle for me, that I've lived through and still living through. Like, I'm like, I think I have the right people on the bus. The bus is going down the street, so I think we're good. So and then and then receivables, and that's always, and those are just things that impact every business owner. Like, if you ask any business owner, regardless of their gender, regardless of their race, what keeps you up at night is staffing and money. Those are the
Mm,
two things. Because everything else you can work through, but those are two variables that you don't have any control over.
right.
So you
Yeah, you
struggle
can't
with those.
account for humans and what they do. Everybody's lives are different. People could jump
No,
up. And-
yeah. I think for me, what I've spent a lot of time, particularly in these past couple of years, of really looking at myself as a business leader and a business owner, and what kind of culture am I creating for the people that have chosen to support my dream. And then also making sure I understand them, that there's a level of reciprocity that goes into this. And so making sure that I am still being a leader and still being very clear about my expectations, but also being supportive of the individuals that are learning,
Mm,
that are going on the journey, and what their goals are also, because they don't have to support, like, there are jobs out there. Like, anyone can go work for another PR firm in this market. I mean, there are tons and tons of wonderful firms in
mm.
this market that I know, respect, and love. But so I know that the team could go work there, like someone, and that's okay. But how do I make sure that if they're faced with that challenge, they say, like, nah, I think I'm gonna stay with the herd. So that's kind of stuff that goes through my mind.
So, actually, kind of going off of that, what made
Mhm.
you decide to design Herd Strategies as the boutique firm that it is?
That's a really great question, because a lot of people thought that when I started my trajectory that I was going to pursue being a very large firm in the market, and that was never my goal. That was
Mm,
never my dream. I wanted to remain small. I wanted to remain intimate. And that was something that was really, really important to me. I didn't want to be 20, 30, 40, 50 employees deep. um that was never my thing. I wanted to provide, because my thing is, I wanted to provide opportunities also for people that looked like me, for Black and brown people. And so that was actually my primary goal, with the company. And I also wanted to make sure that anyone that worked for me, or any client that we had, knew that they could get in touch with me, that they
mm,
could talk to me. And so I remember talking to one of my competitors, before she retired and handed the reins over. I remember having breakfast with her, and I asked her, "Do you know the names of every single person in your company?"
mm,
And she looked at me and said, "No, I don't." And that just gave me, like, Miranda from The Devil Wears Prada vibes. I'm like, so that means like if you get on the elevator and there's one of your employees on the elevator, they're scared out of their wits being on the elevator with you and you don't even know them. And I never wanted to have that feeling. I never wanted anyone to have that feeling around me, that no matter what, you knew that you could talk to me and I knew you, I understood you. That was just something that was so important to me.
Hmm.
So, yeah, yeah, that really, I was like, I don't think I want to, and I just don't want like when you were an account coordinator, you could talk to me. You know,
Right.
I was like, "Hey, Kiara," like, like, and then when it was time for you to be promoted, it was me that said, "This girl needs to be promoted."
Mhm.
Like I just wanted that. That was just so important to me. And so that's why I've always said I'm just going to be a boutique size, because I also realize it's for me, it's not the size of the firm, it's the size of the impact.
Right.
What kind of impact are you making? Or how effective are you being? How many lives are you changing? That's what I decided to prioritize. And that's worked out really well for us.
Hmm. Yeah, because I think it's not only has it allowed for us to feel like more than just a number with you, it also has allowed for our impact to be that much stronger with clients because we do have so much more personal of a relationship.
You do. You
And they
do.
know the entire staff of Herd Strategies. They know every person that touches their account. So that's always nice.
Yeah. I mean, like they'd say, like, hey, we love Kiara. I'm like, good, because you're stuck with her. So
Like that's all we got.
like,
Oh, one more question that I had for you here. I
okay.
thought a good one to end out. What piece of advice would you give Denise of 2011 as she's starting up Herd Strategies as Denise of today?
That's a really good question, because there's a lot of advice I'd probably give Denise of 2011 versus, as knowing what I know. Of course, the obvious is, girl, you're gonna be okay.
Right.
Because you're always like, oh, my skill, but girl, you're fine. You're gonna be fine. Like you'll still be standing. So I wish that she had known then, like you'll be fine.
All is well.
I, right. I think the other thing I would have told her is to pursue her personal brand earlier. I think for so long I spent so much time focusing on the company brand and really defining the company brand and also trying to separate myself from the company brand. But I
Mm.
was so twisted in the brand. Like it's almost like it was Denise Herd, and that was harmful sometimes because people couldn't separate me from Herd Strategies, which I really needed them to do. I needed Herd Strategies to have its own identity and Denise Herd to have her own identity. So I think I would have pursued that journey a lot sooner, knowing what I know now, because I think by not pursuing it earlier, I may have caused harm to the company because the company wasn't able to soar like it could have because Denise Herd was in the way. I don't know if that makes sense, but I would have found more opportunities to publish. I would have found like this podcast, having these opportunities to have conversations so people could hear my voice outside of Herd Strategies. I would have done that a lot sooner. More panels, more speaking, just so Denise Herd could get out of the way of Herd Strategies and let Herd Strategies morph into what it was going to morph into.
That's understandable.
Mhm.
So we have just a couple minutes left. So as we're closing out here, I wanted to give you a few minutes. Is there anything else that you would like to share with our audience?
That's a really, I don't know. I'm just want to say thank you to everyone that has loved Herd Strategies, loved me, tough loved me, every client that fired me, every client that hired me, and the company. I want to say to my haters, thank you. Couldn't have done it without you. So no, I just want to say thank you because it takes a village. It takes a village. And I just remember one day, Debbie Wilson, who she's not in the market anymore. She lives down in Texas. She retired out of her business and she's, fell in love, got married and ran away. I remember her telling me when I first started that I would be successful. She was like, "There's no reason for you not to see all the successes that you deserve and that you want." And I was so scared, and I didn't know what she meant by that. But she was always, and still is, a really big supporter. So I would be remiss if I didn't like give her a bit of a shout out. And then, there's just been so many people. Like, I don't want to start calling names because I'll definitely leave somebody out, but you know who you are. If you prayed with me, if you cried with me, if you paid me, if you took money from me, if whatever, I just want to say thank you because I wouldn't have made it without you. I just wouldn't have.
Well, thank you again for taking the time out for this special episode.
Thank you.
And thank you so much to those of you who tuned into this episode of How They See Us. Don't forget to subscribe to all of our How They See Us podcast platforms, which are on Spotify, on Amazon, on Apple, anywhere
Apple,
you go to stream, you can
Podbean.
Podbean. For us, we are there. And if
Right.
you'd like to see the video, we are also available on our official YouTube channel at Herd Strategies.
We high tech now.
I know, we're everywhere. You can't hide from us. Well, thank you all again, and until next time.
Take care and talk soon.